The boy who cried progressive overload is a statement that I made up, and it describes me really, really well. It's the type of person that has a really, really bad habit of saying they achieved progressive overload, saying they got one more rep, saying they got a little bit more weight than last time, when they in truth actually didn't. I've been so obsessed with beating my score, all the things that I preach about, which are still really, really good, by the way. Obviously, super important for your fitness journey to do progressive overload. I'm not hating on the concept whatsoever, but it just has to be earned properly. It has to be earned correctly. And so many sessions I'd say, yeah, I got one more rep, yeah, I got a bit more weight, but I cheated the last rep. The tempo in the entire set was awful, and that's led to me not using my muscles properly, not isolating my muscles on that exercise, instead using leverage of my body or pushing my bum up on a bench or whatever the reason may be. And I haven't progressively overloaded. I've just done one more rep than last time with improper form. Using my body as leverage in different ways to be able to help me get that extra rep, but not actually using that muscle to get the extra rep. Progressive overload is only important when it's that singular muscle that you're trying to train, like your chest for example, that actually gets that extra rep. It doesn't count if it's like your tempo or the form breaks down or you're using your body as leverage. That doesn't count because it's not your muscle that's doing that action, you know? So I wanted to bring this up because it's a really bad habit that I have currently, and this is the things that I am doing to fix it, and I have a feeling that a lot of you boys will have the same problem as well. Your ego is attached to the weight that you lift, or you want to see progress so bad that you do these things, and in return it's like masked progress. So I want you to earn progressively overload correctly and properly today, and today we're going to give you the things that you look out for if this is you, and the cues if this is you, to be able to fix those things. We need to earn it properly, boys, otherwise your muscles are just not going to grow, and then you're going to wonder why. But you'll be able to spot if your training isn't good so much earlier if you're not achieving progressive overload, rather than faking that you are until 6 months, 12 months down the line, you're confused why you don't look as good. So I always had bad habits, especially on bench press. I felt like bench press is my biggest lift. It is the one that I feel I am the best at, I love the most, I'm the strongest, and it's also the one that I attach my ego to the most. And when I attach my ego to it, I'll do anything to get that weight up, even if it's not training the chest properly. So when I'll do an average set of 90 kilo, 85 kilo as it stands, I'll be using my bum. I'll be lifting my bum up in the air a lot. You see that with a lot of bench PRs online. I see it where people almost call them hip thrusts. They'll bring the bar down and then they'll like fucking shagging the bar all the way back up, you know? And I just think that that's what a lot of my sets really used to look like when I was trying to get that extra rep, trying to get that more weight on the bar. And it just got to a point where I was like, I'm not actually training my chest properly. I kind of feel it after every set. I'd be like, yeah, I got the weight up, but you know, do I even feel it in my chest, that sort of thing. And I used to get that feeling quite a lot, which is already a good indicator that, you know, you're cheating out of your set. But then I was like, yeah, I got the weight up. But then when the next week would come around and I wouldn't match it, I'd be so confused. I'd be like, why can't I do the same weight as last week? My progress isn't like linear, it's not working. No, you just aren't at that level yet, and you made yourself believe you were when you weren't, you know? So all these things can make you question your workout routine, question your progress, causing you to flip-flop between workout routines, and then as a result ruin your progress just because you're masking the progressive overload. And then once you can't hit it again, then you're like, oh my god, I'm not making progress, when you actually are. You're just lying to yourself to make you seem better than you actually are. And then when you can't reach that expectation again, then you're like, oh my god, it's not working, you know? So we need to be able to fix this problem. So a couple of things that we need to do is notice the habit. So obviously in this video, I'm like talking negatively about progressive overload. I don't think that's the case. I think progressive overload is super important. Like I talk about all the time, beating your score, etc. But it's vitally important. It's earned in the correct way. So it's important that we don't go too far on this either. So obviously we know progressive overload is important, but we don't want to cheat ourselves out of it. But we also don't want to go on the other end of saying, right, all right, I'm not going to care about progressive overload as much. I'm going to focus on really slow tempo, really perfect form. That's not what I'm saying either, because slow tempo doesn't even do anything. As long as you have a tempo between like 2 and 8 seconds, it's perfectly fine. So that's not going to do anything. So we need to find that balance, that crucial middle ground where we're not lying to ourselves about achieving progressive overload like I've been doing, but we're also not taking the form to an extreme of like having to be inch perfect and the tempo has to be really, really slow on the eccentric. We're not doing either of that. We need to find that middle ground where we're still having good tempo and good form, but we're also achieving progressive overload accurately and truthfully as well. We need to find that middle ground. We don't want you being like, all right, he said that we can't be doing really bad form, so I need to do a perfect bicep curl. And you're sat there for 10 seconds being like really, really slow, doing like 5 kilos and then up. And then just control the eccentric, you know, like you don't need to be doing any of that. You don't need to be doing any of that. That's too far on the other extreme. We need to be perfectly in the middle. So you kind of notice this habit after you do the set. And this is why it's super important that you're going to be able to have an app, a workout routine app. So when in my product, the first thing in the description, we will give you workout routines. And I suggest they buy this app, Heavy, H-E-V-Y. And that way you could download the workout routines that I've set for you with just one click and stuff like that. And then you can also write on the app as well. So you can write on the app like, oh yeah, next week, focus on better form. You can give yourself like tips for the week after, obviously because they're saved to your phone. And then when the next week comes around, you can see that piece of writing. So it's really important that you have something like that, whether you've got a notepad or whether you click the first thing in my description, you use the same app as me, or whatever you decide to do. Make sure you write down something that you can remember for the next session. So after a set, when you notice like, because intuitively you will notice after every set, you'll have this feeling of like, oh, I didn't really feel it in that muscle, I didn't really do that. Say like you're swinging a loads on bicep curls, you'll be doing it and then after you'll be like, that wasn't really a great rep. At least for me, that's how I feel. After it, I feel like, oh, the last like 4 reps weren't even that strict. Like, I might actually be able to curl this weight. That's a thought that I'd always have after every set. And it's not a nice thought to have down on yourself after every single set. You want to feel the set and be like, yeah, fuck, that was a good set. So I'd write this down. Every time I'd feel that way about, oh, that's not really great, I'd write it down in my app. I'd be like, right, this set wasn't great form, next week focus on good form. And then instantly you're noticing the habit. And the thing is, it's gonna be different for each exercise. Like I said, on bench press, my bum would come all the way up in the sky, giving myself a ridiculous arch and not actually using my chest muscles. With bicep curls, I'd swing a lot on my body. With lat raises, again, I'd also swing a lot with my body. So it's different for different exercises. So writing down what the problem was for that specific exercise is very, very, very important because it's not gonna be the same. The reason why I'd be treating progressive overload is different to the reason that you would be treating progressive overload. So it's important to be very, very specific with what it is. And then that way it's in your mind, you've noticed it, and that you're able to change that in the future. So now, the solution, when you come round to the next week of sessions and you read your app or you read your notepad and you see, right, this was wrong, that was wrong, that was wrong, and that's why I was achieving progressive overload when I actually wasn't. Now you just have that cue in your mental mind. You have that cue in your brain right before the exercise. Right, that's what I was doing wrong. We need to fix it. And now all I want you to do in the exercise is having that cue in your mind and fixing that problem. So again, if it was for me, I was swinging lows on my bicep curls. I'd just be like, the cue would be, right, make sure you just don't swing. And I'd still keep the tempo the same, I'd still keep the form the same, but just make sure that I'm not swinging and I'm using my bicep as truthfully and as like isolated as possible. And that's how we have intention. That's how we have cues to use. Every time I talk about having intention, having cues are gonna make your exercises better and your workout routines better. This is exactly what I mean. Having something to constantly improve on all the time is gonna make your workout so much better. And this is just another example of that. Right, so if I'm doing a lat raise, but like, right, make sure I don't swing, and maybe I'd change the single arm, sorry about the microphone, bro. Then I'd change the single arm, and I just wouldn't swing at all. I'd hold myself here, so I'm braced and I'm not swinging, and I just have that cue during the entire set. Right, make sure I don't swing, and every single rep, I've got that thought in my mind. And having that cue, I guarantee is gonna fix this problem. And yeah, you might get a few less reps than you thought. Yeah, you might be able to lift not as heavy a weight as you thought, but that's the level you're at. That is the level you're at. Don't mistake this for, oh, I'm not as good as I used to be. No, This is the level that you're at, having the correct form. This is where you're at, and I'll progressively overload from there with the cues that you now have. Keep the correct form. Don't arch your back in the sky. Don't swing on dumbbell curls or lat raises. That's the level that you're at. So many times I'll be like, yeah, but I can't lift as much weight. So that's only a problem if it's stagnant for ages when you're keeping the same things the same. If it's the level that you're at, it's the level that you're at. If you've been lying to yourself for weeks, of course you're not going to lift as much as what you previously were. That's not a problem. You've just fixed the form. If anything, I take it as a positive, be like, yeah, I've progressively overloaded because my form is so much better, even though I've not lifted as much weight or as many reps as I used to. And it can take a hit on your ego, bro, but do you want to make progress or not? That's the only question I've got to ask. So this is a problem that I hugely had during my entire fitness journey. Literally, I still have this problem now, and I'm going through the same process of trying to fix it. I let my ego get in the way of me. I want to lift as much weight as possible, and then I'm not training the muscle directly, and that's why I'm not growing. It's that simple. I'm like, yeah, I'm progressively overloading, I'm growing, but you're actually not, because that muscle isn't moving the weight, it's something else, you know? So that's the problem that I've been having. So you need to notice the habit. So after every exercise, you'll be like, right, you intuitively won't even have to manually do this. That's the good thing. You don't have to manually think, what was wrong with that set? What was wrong with that set? It's usually when you can't think of something that was wrong, the set was good. Usually these thoughts will just pop up after a set. You'll be like, right, that wasn't ideal, that wasn't great, I was swinging loads there, and you can notice it during the set as well. So when these ideas pop into your mind, that's you noticing the habit, and as soon as you get that thought, I want you to get into the habit of writing it down on your app. The app I suggested, Heavy, H-E-V-Y, or writing it down on your notepad as soon as possible. And now that you've noticed the bad habit that you're developing, that's lying about progressive overload. Then from there, the week after, you want to reread and you want to use a cue that's going to make this problem go away that you've written down the week prior. So it's a week later, you have the cue. I've been swinging during my lat raises right now. Now, to fix this, the cue for this session is going to be, let's just make sure I don't swing. Let's lean forward and just make sure that I'm not allowed to swing and move my torso at all. And you're going to have such a better workout, such a better exercise, and execute it so much better. And then you can achieve it progressive overload from there onwards, truthfully, without lying to yourself, and I guarantee you'll see more growth. This is the process that I'm going through now. It's a big hit to my ego. Fuck it, sorry bro, I keep hitting your microphone. It's a big hit to my ego. I'm not lifting as much weight as I used to, but I'm lifting it truthfully with good form, and I guarantee I'm going to see great growth from that. I've already started doing it for the past couple of weeks, and I can already tell that my trajectory and my fitness journey is just going up and up and up and up and up. So if you want more advice like this about intention, workout routines, whatever it may be, you can achieve a top 1% physique in your age category. That is my first link in the description. It's one of the best products I've ever made. Just every mistake I've made in my fitness journey has been compiled into one big video course. And I'm going to teach you all the tips, tricks, secrets, beginner advice to advanced advice to be able to make sure that you achieve your best physique as quickly as possible, so much quicker than I did. I achieved this physique in about 3 years, and I guarantee that I can make you have a better transformation in a quicker time. Because you're just going to learn from me, but without the mistakes I've made, you know? It's literally half the price of Ultimate Edition, fucking hell bro, on FIFA. So if you want to spend your year playing with fucking Javinho on left wing or whatever, you can do that. Or for half price, you can actually transform your physique into something that actually matters in the real world. The second link in the description is my Instagram. That's the one that I'm most active on. Give me a follow on there, and I'm open. My DMs are open to any advice. If you feel like I've missed something in this video, or you feel like you just want a genuine question that you need someone to answer about your fitness journey, my DMs are open, bro. I'm always free to give advice and offer advice. So that's my links in the description. I hope this video helps. Stop having that bad habit and stop being the boy who cried progressive overload.